What is up, guys? It is your boy Royal Mech, and today I have my updated Chronojet Dragon deck list post Manga's promo. So let's go ahead, get on into it. And I am really excited because this deck feels so much better now. So you know how it is. We start with our Chronodram, then Mazer Gear to get our crest, Smoke Gear, and then afterward we ride in the Chronojet. Now Smoke Gear with its skill will allow us to get our grade 3. Any grade 3 we want from the deck, that is a unit, not an order, which kind of sucks. And I would prefer to be able to also search orders, but we can't, which kind of balances it out from a lot of the crazy stuff this deck has. This deck also makes sure you have your crest so that you can stride. For those who don't know what the crest does, it has the ability where your Chronojet in name is always starting at a base 13, but you are not allowed to ride anything else but Chronojet. Why is that good in standard? Well, we have a ride deck, so we'll never miss that target. Then it has the two abilities. The first ability for the deck is it makes your grade 3s count as 0. Really good because this allows them to be cycled out for grade 1s. Really love that ability when it's needed. Then it has the ability, like all crests, all stride crests, that for every face-up card in your G zone, your front row gains +5. Really good, really strong. It scales quite well. Never had a complaint about it And then, because we have to, we also have our energy generator crest. It is a mandatory one for all you people who think you can just skip it. You cannot. Alright. That's been the ride deck. On to the main deck. First up, we play 2 copies of Chronojet Dragon. Reason being, we need him for being able to stride into our next stages. If we do not have this, we can't stride next stage. Now, we don't use next stage a lot like we used to. Because we did get a new stride in set 6. But this still is a needed option. Because if you have them in the point, you might as well get rid of them at that second. Next, we play 2 Nocturcio. This is one of our fodders for riding and striding. It has the same ability when you discard it for a ride to a grade 3 or striding that you get to draw a card. But it then has the ability on play, if you have a grade 4 Vanguard or you reveal a grade 4 from your hand, you can then counterblast 1, add 2 cards from your drop to soul, and then draw a card. Then it has the defensive ability that you can play it in the Guardian Circle for 15k if you reveal a grade 4 from hand or have a grade 4 Vanguard. We don't get access to the guarding portion, but we definitely take good usage of the draw because we can search this. Last in my grade 3s, we play 1 Bali. Bali has the ability, GB1, during your turn, as long as something's been sent to the bottom of either player's deck, this unit gains plus 10k. So, why is this good? Well, it's amazing because it's a 23k attacker on its own with only a very small requirement when a lot of units in our deck help trigger going to bottom. So, really like this card. 1 is enough. If you want to bump it up to 2, you can. You may have to take 1 copy of the next card in the deck. The next card is 2 copies of the Order. Our Good Time Footprint. Now, I love this card. It has 2 abilities. When this card is discarded for the cost of stride, you can then choose one of your Vanguard to have its ability reduce cost for 1 counterblast. AKA, it makes either your on stride or your units counterblast free. Now, primarily, this is only going to touch 2 cards in your G zone because next stage does actually require you to discard a Chronojet. So, you can't really use this with next stage. If you could, next stage would be a lot heftier. more powerful with this. But that's not all it does. It has the other ability of Counterblast 1, choose a rear guard or a unit in your soul, return it to the bottom of the deck. So there you go. Something else to trigger Bali. And then you can call it to open rear guard circle. And if it is a unit with the Generation Break skill, it is ignored. So what does that mean? If you call things like two specific units in this deck, one being Glimmer Breath or Upstream, this order makes both of their GB skills active without issue. Meaning, next Upstream can, on your grade 3 turn, if you go first, you can use this to make his effect go off during your turn. This could use its GB skill to make it a 20k attacker on board because you called this out through this order. So this card just gets bonkers, and it has great utility in the deck. Now, since you saw some of the grade 2s, let's switch over to our grade 2s. Starting up, as you already know, we play 4 Upstream Dragon. It has the ability Generation Break 1. When this unit attacks, it can gain 5k. If it does, at the end of the battle, you may put it to the bottom of your deck. If you do, call it grade 1 from the deck to a rear guard circle standing. Really good. This creates your back row boosting combos. And this is one of the pieces that makes you multi-attack. Really love it. Now, you actually do not have to call anything when you put it to bottom. So, you can put these on the bottom when your deck starts getting really low to keep maintaining some level of deck. It gets fun that way. After that, we'll go into the other boy we introduced today. We're going to play 2 copies of Glimmer Breath. Now, he has the on-play ability, Counterblast 1 to draw a card. But if you have a Chronojet Dragon Vanguard and the Crest, he gains +5. So you'll always have the Crest, which is not the issue. It's playing it when Chronojet is on the board, which you won't be then playing him until after your turn 3 or greater. Then it has the ability Generation Break 3. When this unit attacks, gain 10k. So, meaning on the turn it's played and you're in Generation Break 3, this is a 25k attacker by itself. But without Generation Break, it's still 20. So, when Generation Break 3, it's still a 20. Even without playing and it's been on the board a while, as long as you're past Generation Break 3, it's a 20. But because you're in Generation Break 3, that makes it a 35k attacker. So, we love it. We love it here. 2, I feel, is the number. I feel it's close to the number. You can either go to 1 or 2, but I don't think you really need more of these unless you don't have access to forwards. And speaking of forward, we run 3 copies of forward. It has the ability on play, as long as it's played from hand, Soul Charge 1. Technically, add a card to Soul, not Soul Charge. It gains +5, and then you Counterblast 1, and you can call a unit from Soul, or retire one of your opponent's rear guards that is grade 2 or greater. So, really like it, but it also can only call grade 2 or less. So it can't call grade 3s if you end up Soul Charging grade 3 units, which kind of stinks, but still cool nonetheless. Then, for our another staple of Gear Chronicle of the Stride deck at this point, we played 3 copies of our Guncycler Tizkar Energy for drawing cards on the ride cost, as well as for guarding. Really good to cycle things out. And then lastly, in our grade 2s, we play the one copy of Twin Cast. Really, really love this card. I don't see why this card will ever leave the deck unless we get, but once again, Regalia pieces are always that scenario piece, not really, oh, it doesn't matter, nothing changes, but this is right now one of the best pieces we got. This is a really good guard piece, because it guards for 10, which is that odd number that a lot of decks we can't generate without giving the draw trigger, effect trigger, but we don't have space for those. However, this is also a 15k guard in the late game because of its secondary ability of giving you +5 shield for every grade of your Vanguard that it is, every grade of the unit is blocking. So, really love it. Only keeping that one. I don't think this will ever come out the deck unless we get into another really heavy effect meta where you're better off protecting yourself to where this will then turn back into ladder. Now, on to the grade ones. In the start, we'll go with the new lady herself, Philia. She has the ability when a order is played, or if your opponent let me reword it this way. When this boosts, if you've played an order this turn, or when it boosts, your opponent has 1 regard or less, she gains +5, and then she goes at the end of the battle, she'll go to Soul, you draw 1. Really great card for this deck. Being that also because this does give us kind of reason to play the Jet order, but on top of that, this also helps with Soul, so that GG is playable without having to run a lot of Soul charging cards to speed mill the deck out, and you minimize accidentally hitting triggers into the Soul. Really love her. Works really well with forward, as well as really well with the order, because I have done times where I've played the order, she put one of the copies in Soul back to bottom of the deck to then call an upstream. Now she's active the rest of the turn, and then with upstream recalled some out and then just kept my combos going. After her, we play 3 copies of our Clockwise. He has the ability on play when both Vanguards are the same grade. Soul Charge 1, this gains 2k. Then has the ability in drop, Energy Blast 3, you may remove this card from your drop zone or rearguard circle to bounce a card discarded during your turn back to hand. Really good because this helps you use recycle your costs, such as your Nocturcios, so you're always drawing off of the stride cost, as well as your Bali also is a discard cost for stride, and then draw a card off of it, so you get bounce those 3 back. You also can bounce back the order, which is really strong here, because I gave my unit I gave my Vanguard, especially the strides, a free skill, and then I got the order back so I can use the counterblast I use for the skill to use on calling a rear guard out of the deck. Really great. Really love this card. Space is actually getting tighter and tighter, where that has to go down in count. When it originally was like 4, now it's down to 3. Next thing you know, it's going to be down to 2. Then we play 2 copies of Gigi. Her skill, as long as you have the crest on play, Soul Blast 2, draw a card. If she was played through a card effect, she also then gains +5. So she's 13 if played by an effect. Without it, she's 8k, but you get to draw a card off her play. 2 right now is the best number because the deck has gotten so much tighter for other cards. She just sits here now. After that, we play 1 copy of Amethyst Cat, meaning we're all good to go. This gives you a 20k guard, as well as it's a form of counter charge as long as you put 2 cards from either your soul or your drop that were in the right deck back to the right deck for its skill. Now, because of how much soul this deck does use to pay costs a little, you will definitely have the right deck and drop instead of having to pull it from soul. After that, we just play, the tradition. 3 PGs, 1 Sanctitude. In this instance, we are playing Arlem. And why? Because she's aesthetically pleasing and she belongs with Gear Chronicle as a whole. Now, on to our grade 0s, where the easy stuff lies. We play 4 effect crit, 4 regular crit, 3 effect fronts, Easy guard. 4 vanilla heals. This deck has no reason to play any kind of effect heals because that extra 5 that we get from these are way more important than those random 10s and 25s that can come out of nowhere, because this at least means we're always guarding and we don't have to try to predict all those secondary activation costs. Then for the OT, we play purple. Reason we play purple is this is a 5th heal trigger. This is a wannabe stay trigger. This extends your attacking pressure, and I have no hate against it. This deck card has saved me turns before, and I love it every time. Now on to the G-Zone. First up, we'll get the big boy out the way. We play 4 copies of Next Stage. It has the ability to stride this. You must discard a Chronojet Dragon, which I will always do for this card when needed. Then, at the end of the battle, this unit attacked. Counterblast 1. Discard 2 cards from your hand to then stride out and ride back into Chronojet Dragon and then have him as stand. Really great card. This gives you 2 attacks on the Vanguard swing, so you still can keep the 4 attack turn. But then going into Chronojet is really pressuring because Chronojet has the guard restrict. After this, we play 4 copies of Chronos Command, of our newest boy. And the reason we are introducing him first is because of his abilities. He has the ability on Generation Break 3. You counterblast 1. Bottom deck all of your opponent's rear guards. Then you choose one of your rear guards, and it gains the red text ability. At the end of the battle, that unit attacked. Put it to the bottom of the deck to call a unit that is 1 grade higher. And then that unit gets +5. Now, why is that important? Well, Bushy said, well, since we're not going to give you back TikTok Worker or Mellum, we're going to allow you to have the Mellum combo in another way. And so for those of you who don't know what that means, allow me to demonstrate real quick on the side. So, example. What you're going to do, what you have to do for this is you would take, when this effect is triggered, you would for instance, we're going to target upstream because this is where all the shenanigans happens. You target upstream. Upstream then has to use his effect first, which will put him to the bottom of your deck to then call a grade 1, which in this instance will a lot of times be either Philia or GG. Primarily I do Philia because a lot of times for me, I've had the order in hand, so I called an upstream by putting a Philia back in deck, so she's still active. And then Chronos Command's effect, red attacks, will then trigger because the bottom decking is not the cost, which will then call any unit. Primarily, I like doing it off of a Bali because now that makes it 28 with its own skill. And then this by itself is now a 41k column. And this is happening after 1 attack. Not including boosters or anything else. This has just been 1 attack. Really good. Really, really good. Strong combo. Love it. Right. And that 5k is based on how many face-up cards are in the G-Zone with the name Chronos Command. So, with that being said, that means this is our flip target for the last card in our G-Zone, the 4 copies of Fate Rider. Now, for Fate Rider skill, his skill is Counterblasting 1, flip up 1 card in your G-Zone face up, and then choose a card, one of your rear guards, bottom deck it to call a unit 1 grade higher. Then you can choose one of your rear guards to gain +5 for every card face up. Now, that +5 sort of could definitely escalate a lot higher as the game goes. So first it's a 5, but then as the game goes, it goes from 5 to 10, then there's 15, or even a 20 face up by the time you're doing it again, and it's nuts. Now, as you've heard, one of your primary flip targets will always be the Chronos Command, because of it wanting to check for its face in the G-Zone face up. You are primarily going to use this as your primary flip target for Fate Riders until you get to probably two Chronos commands left, or two Chronos commands left, and then you want to keep leaving one available as another target to keep wiping your opponent's board. Because this card actually is very strong into this coming format for set 7. It definitely helps in matchups against Belsagra, because of being able to wipe their board. This definitely can help against Rez by removing like their combo pieces from constantly recycling, especially when there's a dragon, but when there's a Quabuelis, but you're primarily using it because Bath is more of a nuisance. It can help against Levy, but they don't keep a board long enough to validate the board wipe. This does really well into Prison, which is coming back in Threshold as a valid deck again. So, and this can help you just get rid of all their Munas and then continue the pressure with their already unstable hand. And so it's just really good. I really love this deck. I am so happy that we got our promo finally, because now the deck is just so much better. This has been Royal Mech, and I do hope you guys have had fun with me while I introduced my new Chronojet Dragon deck. Next time will be another fight this week. Coming week will be another fight video. I am also going to try to be starting up later this, most likely this coming Saturday. We'll be starting my live stream series of the Legendary Tales of Legendary Heroes series of Trails of Cold Steel. We'll start game 1, and I hope you guys come join me there, because this will be our stream game for the next couple months, because I'm going to be streaming until we finish it. And yeah, so the Royal Mech is going into military school, so I hope you guys come join me in that as well, and I will see you guys. This is once again been Royal Mech signing out, and peace.